Well, I was just going to say, it could be Ron DeSantis's campaign.
That's true.
The first time he got
might
That's
be the
very
worst.
true.
Might be the worst primary campaign in history. Honestly,
I know, that's what I
really
was
one of
thinking.
the worst campaigns I've ever seen in my life. Just, it never took off. It
So
never.
expensive.
He dropped once he
expensive.
announced. Immediately he dropped in
Yeah.
polls
Oh,
once
yeah.
he announced his run.
That's
Like, it
true.
never recovered.
Remember how he
It just went
announced too,
down,
by the
down,
way,
down, down.
during
Yeah,
the Twitter
on
Spaces
Twitter.
event.
That failed as well. Yeah.
He was problematic. But people loved him being problematic. And I remember I'm from Florida, so when I used to go home, it'd be people holding up Trump signs. And then when they were like Ron DeSantis, it became DeSantis County, DeSantis Country. They had all.
They loved him.
They were
right?
campaigning for him before he knew how to do a real campaign. And then when he officially started campaigning, it was like, sir, the people were giving you more material. What are you giving us? Like this is,
Mhm.
and then you show up and you're not giving the people anything. And the way that they were boosting you, I
The
just
woke mob.
yeah.
It's all about the woke mob.
We gotta stop
He
it.
really had nothing.
Gotta stop the woke mob.
He did give us a lot
Did
of
you see
great
that-
memes.
did you see that-
Smile
did you see
that
that-
heals.
Did you see that video
Funny.
of the Good Liars guys? One of them went up to him during like the last stop on his campaign, and handed him a participation trophy.
I saw that.
And
That's great.
wait, but the best part is DeSantis's wife was standing right next to him, and when the guy says, "I'd like to award you this participation trophy," she fucking laughs. She laughs. Imagine your wife standing right next to you
That's so
in front of
embarrassing.
hundreds of people.
Yeah, that's so embarrassing.
Your presidential campaign, and a random guy, and the guy had a great delivery too, not nervous at all, was so confident in himself, and he goes up there and says, "Sir, we're awarding you with a participation trophy," and your wife laughs.
Maybe
At
she laughed
your
because she was so
expense.
confident that he was going to win the election.
At
No, she
your
wasn't.
expense.
You knew what was going on.
What? How emasculating! And I'm not even someone who thinks that sort of thing ever. That's the first time I ever saw someone actually get emasculated.
Really, is it?
It was so bad, so bad.
Yeah, that was good. I was gonna say, the takeaway from like the Democratic thing, if you want to be a lefty and you want to win, there's certain things that you have to do. First and foremost, lefties who are running, you need to adopt the thumb point. Okay, if you make your fist like this and you point forward, that signals to the libs that you're a serious candidate. You also need to go full lib, wear like a blue wave T-shirt, put a blue wave emoji in your Twitter handle, just like go full with it. And then add "let me be clear" to every other sentence. Like adopt the cadence of a corporate Democrat and hide the ball a little bit. Don't say you're super progressive. Signal to us that you're progressive so we know to support you. But like, you've got to play the game. I think that's the takeaway.
At some point, though, it's got to break. At some point, millennials and Gen Z voters take over, and then no longer will those things.
Oh, did you
work.
see that new poll
I've been
that just
waiting
came out?
for
The
that to
woke
change.
mind virus won. There's now more LGBTQ plus Gen Zers than there are Republicans. They outnumber
There
you go.
Republicans. Yeah, more queers than Republicans. So
It's starting.
yeah. It
Well, hold on.
It
Are they?
Yeah.
Are
Plan
they
worked.
considering
Yeah, exactly.
but are they considering them to be two distinct groups? Because we do know that there are LGBTQ members of the Republican.
There are.
Republican.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
There certainly
if
are.
they're not
Yeah. A lot of white
asking
ones.
some of those, if they're just asking,
Well,
"Are you LGBTQ?" and then they're just asking, "Are you Republican?" but they're not cross-referencing, then we might have a problem. It might be a flawed study.
Yeah, it depends. It
How
depends.
how can you know anything about anything and be a Republican while being LGBTQ? Like I don't.
Well,
I don't
mean,
understand.
There's a
they had a
whole- there's a
reckoning
whole
when that
group of
ad
them.
came out.
There's a
Did you
log cabin Republicans.
It's not just
and that's-
online. It's the real life
Well,
people.
did you
For
also see the
real
Ron
thing.
DeSantis commercial? The one that was like, "I'm way less gay than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is way more gay." Like Mike was in the ad. He was, and then
Right.
it was the biggest gay club anthem comes on. It's like womp 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 womp, and they show like all these hot dudes come on screen, and they're all like this and stuff. And like it was a really gay commercial.
Yeah.
it was all about how he was more gay.
I
and I was
forgot
like, this is
that.
wild. Oh, it was
Yeah, I
amazing.
forgot- I
Mike,
forgot
Oh,
about
yeah.
I'm
that.
so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for being.
Thank you. And it's funny because they played that ad, and I forgot it was the CNN anchor. She asked Pete Buttigieg about that ad, and they cut it off like right after my point. So it's like gayception. It's like, oh, I wonder if he knows who I am because I talked so much shit about him in 2020. I hate that motherfucker. This is so funny and awkward. It's
I
good
remember.
stuff.
I was also in one of his attack ads. I forgot about that.
Ole was too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she was quoted
That's
saying
That's how
DeSantis was
online their
forged in
campaign
hell.
was. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as like a benefit. Look, they're saying he's forged in hell. Isn't that awesome? Vote for him. Vote for Satan.
The ads were
It's like,
crazy.
didn't work
Yeah.
out.
There was an ad. Do you remember the? Wait, you were just talking. Were you just talking about the ad? I thought you were maybe talking about the one where they present Trump as being like an ally to the LGBT
So
community.
yes, yeah, that was
Yeah.
the ad, and then
Okay,
all of a
that's the
sudden,
one you're
it,
talking
like
about. Okay, I
this
wasn't
like
sure.
EDM
Live.
comes on, and yeah,
Right.
and then all these clips from movies come on, and it's like a serial killer, like Alec Bateman, Christian Bale, or whatever, and then like
Right,
another clip.
Is
But
that
they're
the
all
one-
universally accepted, like hot dudes, right? It's like here's all these hot men, like Ron DeSantis, he's sexy too. Listen to the techno, and you're just like, oh, this is so awesomely gay. I didn't know it was going to be that gay, right?
Is
But,
that
yeah.
the one? Is that the ad that ended with Ron DeSantis in the middle of the Sonenrad, or is that a different
No,
one? Do you guys
no,
remember
that was a
that?
totally
Wait,
different
which
one.
one with
Oh,
him
God.
in the middle of a
I got
phonograph?
fired for that one. No, you mean the Nazi ad? No, the Nazi ad was
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
The Nazi ad was separate. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That wasn't an official
I
campaign.
forgot
ad.
about
was,
that one.
It was a
yeah.
staffer who retweeted it. Yeah, but
They
yeah,
paying
also a thing
so
that
much for
happened.
these ads. They're putting so much money into these ads, and then some people who are like, this is supported by such and such group for X, Y, and Z in the corner of who knows where, and it'd be like, who thought of these ads? And it's all for the campaigning, and it's like, y'all got to do better because these ads are crazy. I remember seeing some ad during 2020 because that's when it was real wild. Somebody was spraying poop everywhere. And they were like,
Oh right.
I can't remember who it was.
It
And
was
I-
Boebert's. He was running against Boebert, I think. He was a Democrat, and he
Mhm.
was an insufferable liberal.
Oh,
I
that
just-
terrible guy.
I was so embarrassed. I'm like, now,
Oh my
who?
God.
He was like, do you want to live in or whatever he was trying to do? And I said, and it was just like, you just see people walking down the streets getting sprayed with doo-doo.
Oh my God, I totally
Alright.
forgot about
Well, it
that.
got your attention. You remember that
It got
ad
our-
years
remembered it.
later.
You
I
remember
remember it, but I remember how I didn't remember what he was standing on. I just remember this is real terrible. Like this
He was
is
just-
like
Yeah, he was like tired
That's
of the
wild.
bullshit and all this shit.
yes,
but
yeah,
then
that's what it
also
was.
he
That's
was
what it
tired
was.
of the shit from the socialists and the lefties too.
Of course.
And I remember he
Of
put out
course.
this smug video where it's like baby's first cancellation, and he's like, "Oh, you all want to cancel me?" Like it was so insane. It's like, God damn! Like you're running against Boebert. All you have to do is zip your lips. The shit ad
Yeah.
was funny, but like
Just be a name on a paper.
just
like,
shut
don't-
the fuck up,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, just show up.
Lord.
It's
a
so
time.
ridiculous. That was funny. There was this ad from 2020 where there was this lady. She had an AR-15, and she's like, "Look, I'd like to see Antifa come to my town." Like
Mhm.
psychotic. Then she got elected. Marjorie Greene.
Ah,
Oh, look, you're like, there's this lady. Oh, yeah, her ad. Listen,
Marjorie Taylor.
Like-
Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah.
she's
Oh
a
my
dirty
God.
foot, dragon, all of that. But she likes to look. She likes to be that type of person. She, and that's what I'm saying. These are the people that we're electing. 2020 was a time we were going through so much in this world, and at that time, people were just like, "There's a seat, elect somebody," and they were just throwing anybody they could. They thought because they would use TikTok influences or whatever at the time to make it pop. and make it cute, make it funny, make it interesting, make it memorable. But none of these people we know, and they would go really extreme because that was trending at that time, just being the most extreme person. And that's on both sides. Everybody was putting out extreme stuff instead of talking about true issues. Every commercial that I saw, every ad that I seen, it was just so extreme, and they weren't talking about anything. They wanted it to be colorful. They wanted it to be like, some people wanted it to be day to day. Some people wanted it to be like how, I say it's really embarrassing. Like when TikTokers, to me, I like to see the people do it, but I tried to do it and I was embarrassed for myself. Like do the get ready with me's, but you're starting like from the moment you wake up. So that means that you have to set your camera up and wake up out the bed. You set it up, go back into the bed, throw yourself out the bed. Like it's just all too much. But that's what they were giving us. They wanted to be relatable in that sense, but there was so much stuff to be relatable too, but they were just going for what's trendy. And that was what I think was very problematic. I remember these commercials because that man thought that if he uses curse words and if he is one of the, I remember this other guy, and I want to remember his name, and I want to say it's Isaiah. Out of Louisiana. He had a really good one, and he wanted to make marijuana legal.
Oh, Gary Chambers, is that the one?
I don't remember and it could be that. I don't remember, but it was nice. That was a good one because at that time we saw a lot of businesses monetizing off of marijuana, but people still serving time. So I okay, that was great. He done roll one up for his commercials, sat in the middle of the country, rolled one up and was saying, why you need to vote for him or whatever the case may be. Those were memorable. Those were understandable. But I'm saying they were so focused on making things just trendy. And
I think it's because politicians understand, or candidates understand, that name recognition is like half the battle, at least half the battle. As long as people know that I exist, then there's a good chance that they may vote for me because they don't like the other person on the ballot. Like that. So it's just about, as long as they can get your attention and get your attention enough that you hear my name at the end of it, then maybe I'll get your attention and you'll vote for me, come election day. Because the old way wasn't working. Like talking about real issues sometimes doesn't really.
That's so crazy. That's what I'm trying to get to. Like the actual way to do it ain't working. Like we are in a microwavable time, and yes, it was Gary Chambers, Mike, but we're in a microwavable time. So we need to get like things because we all ADHD. So if you just talking about real issues, snoreboard, get out of here. We don't need that. We need to see colors flashing. We need it fast. What are you?
I like shiny things.
10 seconds. What can you tell me? How are you gonna that's it.
I want
it's
keys
so
jangled
true
in front of me.
That's why on TikTok they're doing so well, because they have like somebody talking, and then that's on the top of the screen, and the bottom,
and then is it cake
kinetic
being
sand.
cut?
Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what they're saying.
Game in the other
I'm watching. I'm stopping the scrolling, and I'm watching. Like that's how our brains operate, right?
And now they're like that candidate got 1 million views, but I was watching because of the video you had underneath. Like, you had something going on. I didn't even hear what you said.
God, they've got the formula on TikTok perfectly. I know that Lance wanted to talk about the Oscars, but I think this is the perfect.
Hold on, we got
segue.
some breaking news here.
What's the breaking
Marianne
news?
Williamson has dropped out.
Oh no way!
Oh really?
Not shocked.
Oh wow! Damn.
That's not really surprising, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but yeah,
I was being a little bit facetious with the breaking news, but it is something that just happened.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Oh, when did it happen? Did it happen today?
Just now, as we're on the air. Apparently she's on a Zoom call with her volunteers, and there's a big fight going on where they're begging her to stay in. And people I don't know why.
Not somebody having an inside.
Apparently some people are telling some very sad stories in the Zoom where they spent like 20% of their annual income on her campaign, which is oof.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's not.
I had her on my show, like in 2020, I believe. I had her on my show, and I'm just like, I don't know, Ben. I'm just not sure where this is going. Another person who went off, I think she was campaigning, and how she was riding the wave was through Christianity. At that time, the evangelical train was nice and going, and so she was riding that wave. And just hearing the points that she was hitting on, I'm just like, I don't this ain't giving, again, it's not giving genuine, but it's giving trendy. It's giving trendy. So
kind of like that, like new age, like spiritual. Because I do remember that, and I was really, really turned off by that.
And she was having the conversation
initially.
with us, and she was going on each show. We're a Black show, like it or not. And and so she came on. We had conversations, and I'm just like, sweet lady, but I don't know if she really wants to do this. It's not giving me. It's just like, she had powerful points, but then after the show, I would see her online, and I would see lots of scandal, and I'm like, now, Marianne, like, what's going on, sis? And so I'm not surprised to see her drop out. These people know that they are
a lot of fuck ups.
They are, yes, and it was coming out crazy. I said, not the same lady that was on our show. It was her. She wanted to come on like a good Christian woman, and they got problems too. They got problems too. And when you run for president or anything like that, we're gonna find it. The world will find it. But you're saying, Matt, that the people who were working alongside her are now in a Zoom call, and they're dropping all the tea. And one of those are like, they were spending most of their income on backing her.
But they're not complaining that they did that. They're complaining that she's dropping out.
Oh, so she's not looking out for them.
Like they believe that if she stays
it costs a lot of money to maintain a campaign, though.
Yes,
some people are
saying
really unaware of like how not likely it is that she will win. You know what I mean? Like it's depressing in a way where it's just.
It's not even just not likely. It's not going to happen.
I'm obviously obviously she's not going. There's zero chance.
I mean, I said this like I think I said this like a year ago when she was running.
Of course.
I think my exact reasoning was that to be a candidate that even dares to go up against a incumbent, you need to have some sort of movement behind you, and she is not that person. She does not have a movement behind her. She doesn't have that sort of built-in supporter base. People who flocked to her were basically looking for a third-party candidate who claimed to be the most progressive in the race. They weren't flocking to her because of anything other than that. She was like, just happened to be the person who was there.
Well, I like the idea of her candidacy and was supportive because I think that even if she's not going to win, I think primarying Biden is important just in terms of like messaging, like trying to get him to do better in certain regards. I think that does matter. To what extent doesn't matter, I'm not sure, but it's still good, right? The fact that she stepped up. I think that she's a great candidate on policy. I was
someone who actually threatens that, though. Like, to be able to push somebody, you need to be a threat. Like, and not even necessarily a threat that you win, a threat that you can make the other candidate lose by pulling just enough support.
Which is hard to do against an incumbent.
She was able to do, though. But I mean, I think there are people who could have done it, or previously, maybe in past years, could have done it. But she was not that.
Yeah, I was disappointed in her later campaign and stuff. Like I did an interview with her, and I think she did. She's really good at messaging, but she's not great at defending herself from really important things. Like, there's a lot of allegations about staffers that she really dismissed, and you can't, like, when you're talking to lefties, and I tried to like bring this up in the interview in the context of like, we're really concerned about worker rights. That employer-employee dynamic is very exploitative. So we're going to be hypersensitive to this. And I just don't think that she really took their concerns and our concerns seriously. And also when it comes to issues like Israel, she was better than Biden, but she was really defensive about her position when challenged. And she was pretty defensive in the interview with me. And I wish I pushed back more, but I was trying to talk about other issues, so I had to move on. But
you saw the bio really clip, good, right? The one she was being interviewed about that specific topic, and she kind of fucked up in what she was saying, and then it went viral. Then she had to like backtrack and be like, "Okay, I have been an advocate for Palestinian rights my entire life, so this is not representative of what I actually believe," and all that kind of stuff. Like that.
Right, I saw that. That was actually I saw that after I did my interview. It was like between going up, so I was like, "Oh God, I wish I really," because I really thought that she would be much better on Israel Palestine, and I had spent most of my time researching for that interview, prepared to push back on like worker rights. But yeah, I was really disappointed. Also, she was good on LGBTQ plus rights, but really didn't have a plan for addressing like these bans on gender affirming care for trans youth. And even was a little bit confused about the issue and thought that like kids were getting surgery. So I had to correct her on that. Didn't even expect to have
really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. In my interview, so I was actually really disappointed. I think she's a great candidate, and she's good just if you give her the podium and let her speak. But the problem is that, like, when you challenge her ideas, well, good, good in terms of like messaging, right? Like
I think
she
perhaps
can
she's
Bernie really well, you know.
I think perhaps she's a nice, well-meaning lady, although apparently her past campaign staffers could apparently argue against that one. But but I don't think she's a good candidate. I don't think she has good messaging. I don't think she's a good talker. All I remember from her 2020 campaign was her constantly after the debates in like reports and videos, she would like ask her staffers or supporters who were there, oh, should I, because on stage she did not agree with Medicare for all, for example, but then afterwards, because of the great reaction Bernie got, she went viral into like a video for saying to her staffers, should I agree with Bernie Sanders on Medicare for all? Okay, you got it. I'm for Medicare for all. That's not someone who's got a strong like feeling about something. That's not someone who's a good talker. That's not someone who has the conviction, the strength of their convictions. I mean, she's never was that person. I'm sorry, Mike.
There's some really weird moments during that campaign.
Yeah, I think you're confusing that you personally think she's a nice person, like a nice.
Well, no. What I mean is, I think she's good at like,
hey, ladies,
speaking about policy. You know what I mean? Like, if you listen to her, she talks about like an economic bill of rights. I think that's good messaging. Like, if you adopt that messaging as a Democrat, I think it would resonate with like the left. But in terms of like a good candidate, I wouldn't necessarily say good candidate in terms of like running a good campaign. I don't know. I'm not like behind the scenes, but like, I think that like what she says when she talks about policy, it's great. But if you challenge her, it kind of falls apart and she gets defensive, which is a problem because you want somebody who's going to be really open and receptive to feedback, especially on the left, especially if there's some sensitive issues and you're not addressing, you know, so that's kind of my.
I think there's a difference between being open to feedback and then so abruptly changing course because it seems like the popular or more helpful thing for the campaign to do. I mean, I don't know if you
that's fair.
Go on the debate stage and that night backstage you change your mind. And that's like a legitimate change of heart over. And that doesn't seem. But regardless of that. One tell for me was, you know, if your whole campaign is that you're the progressive candidate and you don't immediately grab all the attention when what happens in Gaza was happening by being on the absolute right side and being a staunch supporter of the Palestinian people, which she didn't at first.
Cornell did.
Then you're
that was a big difference between the two of them.
Like she didn't, she could, that could have been, I'm not saying this would have made her win or even get close to winning, but she could have certainly had a big moment online at least and had a sort of resurgence maybe in the media coverage of the race if she had come out as like the pro-Palestine candidate, and she just didn't deliver there either. And that's when I knew like she's not even taking she doesn't even have the political wherewithal to take advantage of this moment as the so-called progressive candidate. Then I mean it's just dead in the water to begin with, even more deader than it was before this.
Yeah. It was never a strong campaign.
Never strong.
I mean, I'm sure I'm sounding like a Marianne Williamson hater, but personal. It's just
like
it's just
Biden so much. That's why you just love Joe Biden. So
W Hive is going to come after you.
You got to have Joe Biden. Bender loves Joe Biden. That's all this is about.
We all said she was sweet. She was kind. She just didn't have what it took. And you over here like she's trash. Nothing is good.
Garbage have Joe Biden.
I mean, honestly, I don't even think about her enough to be a hater. I mean, I'm just talking facts here, talking the obvious here. I mean, she got like 5,000 votes in a rando who had no constituency. Like, I mean, he's a congressperson, fine, but had no presidential election sort of supporter base until like last month. Dean Phillips destroyed her. It's ridiculous that he got 20% of the vote and she got like, what was it? Like, I don't even know how much, 2%, 3%. I mean, come on.
I wonder what the money
she was in the race for so much
there.
longer than him too. She was in the race for like, she was one of the first people to throw her hat in the ring.
I have to imagine Dean Phillips spent a lot of money there, more than Marianne did. Otherwise it makes no sense at all.
Marianne was going to be Marianne is a woman as well. And so I know she was already at the bottom. She would have had to work 10 times as harder, but she just didn't have what it took. To me, I don't think that it was anything that she could do to make me believe that she...
I think what it would take though was just lots of fucking money. Like that's kind of what
that's
it
true
takes
too.
in all these races, like especially a primary.
Always.
I totally know what you're saying, Rebecca, but I don't. She didn't even get to the point where you can factor in misogyny as a factor in her. She didn't even get there. She didn't even get there.
Matt is just like, no, Rebecca, nice try. She was garbage. Let's just put it there. I didn't do it.
To say Marianne lost because one of the factors was she's a woman is the equivalent right now to the Oscars people saying that it
started off hard for her. That's all I was saying, baby. It was.
Up yours. Sons of bitches. Woke moralists.
I dreamed I saw my maternal grandmother. She was stroking herself absent-mindedly. I let her have her way. Her genital region was exposed. I let her have her way.